Hi, my name's Katie, and I am super excited to share my partner and I have been researching these past few weeks. The question that Chelsea and I have come up with is what behavioral responses arise from children with learning disabilities to various teaching accommodations in a classroom setting. And in order to further examine our objective, we examined the behavioral responses of children with learning disabilities in a classroom setting. Um, that were provided with various accommodations, and some discussions of study importance included enhancing our understanding of children with learning disabilities. We hope to improve educational interventions, gain an in-depth insight from special education teachers, and further discuss what challenges they face in their career that we may not be aware of, and just further understand students' perspective and personal experiences. Because I know personally for me, going into this research, I hadn't really dealt with many um, people who had learning disabilities. So this was very insightful for me. Methods we used to collect and analyze this data included qualitative research, where we conducted observations and in-depth interviews in a classroom setting. So we were able to interview 4 K through 12th grade students with learning disabilities and 1 special education teacher who specialized in deaf and hard of hearing. Our dependent variable was behavioral responses from children, and our independent variable was teaching modifications that had been implemented in the classroom. Chelsea did most of the interviews from students, and some of her interesting results included that most students don't really understand what their specific special accommodations are, and that overall they all enjoy being in the classroom setting with their peers. Um, Something that would be beneficial is that they wish that that their teachers would repeat what they say more often, and that having a safe space or common corner to go to when they're upset would be a great addition to their everyday classroom life, and that they find small breaks very helpful. So, some article that we found to back this research, this is just one example of the many articles that we will include in our um, research paper, but we found that most children with learning disabilities aren't able to express their emotions the same as others. So, creating a student friendly area in the classroom that can be monitored by a teacher is very beneficial. Um, and just filling the space with activities that can serve as a distraction to stimulate their mind is very important. The special education teacher, Amy Owen, that I was able to interview, said that the most positive behavioral responses come from reward systems. So having this space where they can decompress and re-enter calmly to receive positive feedback from their teacher can be beneficial and calming for their emotional outbursts. And some interesting results I received from the special ed teacher, Amy, is that she had worked for over 15 years as a special education teacher. Um, for the Davis School District. And a major critique for her work is that she felt that behavioral responses root in the space that she's provided to work in. And she said that there had been instances where she had been working with students outside of a band room, which could be incredibly distracting, or there were even reports of times where she was the only available space to work with the student was an elevator. This being said, it's hard to be taken seriously or professionally from students in these conditions, and as a result, even harder to keep their attention and keep positive behavioral responses from them. Another factor that Amy has learned to take very serious is to heavily encourage the support from her students' family members. She's learned that it's also one of the most difficult parts of her jobs, because even though you can encourage some parents, they aren't always able to offer as much support at home as she would like to see to help reinforce her teachings as she's teaching these students. When I spoke to her, she recalled some instances where she had students who were able to sign very well, but their parents weren't able to sign fluently, so it's hard for them to even communicate with their parents. And also, students who can speak English very well may have parents who can't speak English at all, so they have trouble communicating with them in that aspect. Um, so communication can affect all aspects of a student's life, including their confidence. So as Amy helps them master communication skills, it's also her job to increase their self-efficacy skills. So students' overall confidence in themselves translates to how they behave in a classroom setting. And there are a variety of responses that are a result of their self-efficacy skills in a classroom, which we will further dive into in our research paper. So I'm excited to lay those points across further with you guys, but this is just a brief overview of what we will be representing in our paper. Thank you.